Was good, y'all? Just a few nights ago, the Indiana Pacers and the Philadelphia 76ers faced off against each other 2 games in a row. The first game went to Philly, the second game went to Indy, and I bring this up because on both teams there was a battle of the Tyreses, if you want to call. Both Tyrese Maxey and Tyrese Haliburton have come out the gates firing to start this NBA season, having incredible seasons respectively. They're both playing so good that it started to raise the question in a few people's minds of who is the best point guard in the Eastern Conference. Is it Tyrese Haliburton? Is it Tyrese Maxey? Is it a few other guys that we're forgetting about? These aren't in any particular order, but I did boil it down to 5 point guards that I think have a legitimate, argument to being the number 1 point guard in the Eastern Conference. Some obviously have a bigger argument than others, but let's take a look at our first guy. As I mentioned in the intro, Tyrese Haliburton is having an incredible season, averaging 25 points, 4 rebounds, and 12.5 assists. And he's shooting incredibly as well, 53% from the field, 44% from 3, and 93% from the free throw line. Tyrese is putting up career numbers across the board, career highs in points per game, rebounds per game, assists per game, field goal percentage, free throw percentage, 3-point percentage. About anything I just showed on that screen, it's a career high for Tyrese this season. And where his biggest impact on the court comes is from his elite playmaking. He genuinely has an argument to be the best playmaker in the NBA. I probably would still side a little bit towards Jokic, maybe Luka in there too, but Tyrese is in that upper echelon, definitely top 5 in the entire league in the playmaking. That playmaking ability allows him to be the main engine of this number 1 offense that the Pacers own right now. And it kind of got me thinking, on Basketball Reference, he has no nicknames. I know some people call him Reese, some people call him Hallie. But I thought a real nickname for Tyrese could be the driver. It kind of goes with the Pacers, with their Indy 500 and their whole, raceway type of pace. And also he's driving the offense. They push the pace there he's driving fast, high-speed offense. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about the driver being Tyrese's nickname. I feel like it kind of fits. But along with his elite level playmaking, he also is one of the most efficient scorers in the NBA, averaging just under 25 points per game. 50-40-90 splits is incredible. Really cannot fathom how efficient he is. He is the absolute number 1 reason why the Pacers jumped out to the 7-4 start that they did. They're 7-3 when Tyrese plays. He did miss that 1 game against the Celtics, and the Pacers lost by 50 points. I know it is the Celtics, and they are an incredible team, but that just shows the impact that, Tyrese brings to this team. The next guy that I think has an argument to being the number 1 point guard is as well Tyrese, this time Tyrese Maxey, averaging 27.5 points, 5 rebounds, and almost 7 assists as well. The efficiencies are there for him too. He's been an absolute bucket for Philly. As I'm sure many of you guys probably assumed, that 27.5 points per game for Tyrese Maxey is a career high for him. It's also good for 10th in the entire league in scoring, which also is incredible considering the fact that he plays alongside MVP Joel Embiid, who's 1st in scoring. That just shows how, well he's able to balance. All right, I'm going to get mine, but Joel, you can still get yours. And I think he's so good at keeping that balance because of just how efficient he is, and he gets his opportunities, he takes advantage of those. He could just get a bucket in so many different ways. He can pull up from 3 off the dribble, he can catch and shoot the 3, he can drive to the basket, get to his float game. This year especially, I feel like he's really able to absorb contact through finishing and able to finish through the contact like that, get to the free throw line as well. And he already kind of showed the flashes of being an elite level scorer last season where he averaged 20 points per game, majority of that coming off the bench as well. But what really does it for me this year is the step that his playmaking has taken. A lot of times Joel Embiid, he'll play majority of the first quarter, if not the entire first quarter. And then to start that second quarter, Tyrese Maxey is out there with the second unit, and they kind of just let him run the whole second unit. And I've already mentioned before, he gets to his scoring spots, he gets himself going. But that's also when he gets all of the second unit going. Without Maxey playing at this elite level that he is, I highly doubt the Sixers are 8-3 like they are right now. Next point guard I wanted to talk about was Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks, putting up 23 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists. A little bit of a slow start for JB and the Knicks, but they are starting to find their footing. Jalen Brunson is known for being a point guard that's going to take tough shots, but he's going to make those tough shots as well. To start off the season, he had a few games where he was not making those tough shots, but still taking a lot of them. He had a few games where he, shot like 20 plus shots and only made like 6 or 7 of them, and that tanked his field goal percentage. As you saw, he's only shooting about 42%, but his 3-point percentage, oh my lord, he has turned into a sharpshooter. He's averaging a career high in three-point percentage and three-point attempts, shooting 46% from three on over 6 attempts per game. And he has a hefty load out there in New York, being their main scorer, their main ball handler, their main point guard. He's got a lot on his plate, and those efficiencies, like I said, are slowly creeping up. And also throughout his career, Brunson has shown that he is an elite level closer and can come through in the clutch time. You know, last season through the playoffs, he stepped up time and time again for the Knicks when not a lot of other people on the roster did. And just a few nights ago as well against the Atlanta Hawks, he was able to close out the game for them, hitting the dagger shot to really put the Hawks away. You can't talk about top-level point guards without bringing up Damian Lillard. Even though he is having a rough start to the season, he still is Damian Lillard. He's averaging 24 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists on some pretty shaky efficiencies, to say it lightly. But again, he's still Damian Lillard. It's definitely safe to say that Dame has not looked like Dame just yet in a Milwaukee Bucks uniform. But at the same time, this is the first time in his entire career that he's ever had to switch teams, move cross country. I'm sure there's a big adjustment period for him. And if we just let that kind of play out, I'm sure he'll come back around and be back in Dame time. Don't get me wrong though, he still has shown flashes that he can still be Dame. It's just been kind of hit or miss. Like the season opener, he had 39 points and, was incredible. And then literally the next game after that, he had 6 points. And just this last Bucks game though, without Giannis, Dame put up 37 points and 13 assists. That's a good sign that he can still be that high-level Dame player that we're used to. And obviously, when you look at just the stats for the season, it looks like he shouldn't really be on this list. But you still got to give him, again, the benefit of the doubt of still being Damian Lillard. Before this season, I had him as the third best point guard in the entire league. He definitely deserves at least a mention on this list. And the last point guard that we will talk about today is Trae Young for the Atlanta Hawks, putting up 24 points, 3 rebounds, and 11 assists per game. The efficiencies aren't really there, but that's kind of always been Trae Young. Trae Young is in a very similar situation to Dame for when it comes to me, making this short list of point guards that I think could be number one. And just the fact that, yeah, he's having a down year, but he's still Trae Young. This is a career low in efficiencies for him from both the field goal percentage and three-point percentage. Like I said, Trae Young's never known to be an efficient scorer, but, career lows is kind of crazy. Where Trae really brings a lot of his value, though, is through his playmaking, similar to Tyrese Haliburton. Trae Young is actually second in assists per game compared to all of these players that I have on this list. And I'm sure those efficiencies are going to get at least a little better for Trae. I'm not saying he's going to shoot 50, 40, 90, but I think he'll at least hit 43% from the field, maybe, 36, 37% from three. If that's the case, then yeah, he'll be chilling. And then real quick, before I give my final verdict, I do just want to give a quick shout out to Darius Garland and LaMelo Ball. Both of those guys just barely missed the short list for this. Darius Garland, he's been dealing with injuries, so I don't want to put too much on him, but he is still having a down year, and so are the Cavs as a whole on the team. So that kind of brought him down a little bit. And then LaMelo Ball, he kind of struggles with efficiencies like a few other guys on this list, so I'm not going to hold that too much against him. He still is an elite level playmaker and everything, but he also is on a very bad Charlotte Hornets team. So, I don't want to put too much against him for being on that bad team because they really don't have too much on that roster. But a lot of these other guys, not even a lot of these guys, all of these other guys on this list are winning basketball games, and LaMelo is not. So the final verdict on the best point guard in the Eastern Conference is Damian Lillard. If we're talking grand scheme of things, by playoff time, who do I want on my roster? It's Damian Lillard. He has just the largest body of work that shows that he is consistently an elite level scorer, an elite level playmaker, an elite level shooter. He's got all of the bases covered. If we're talking strictly this season right now, this 11, 12, however many games it's been this season right now, I'm going to go Tyrese Haliburton because he is the number one option on that Pacers team. He is super efficient, and I really do value efficiency, especially at that point guard position. The playmaking is there. He barely turns over the ball. I think right now he's on a streak. His last 2 games, he scored 53 points, 37 assists, 0 turnovers. That is legit right there. You can't teach that. You can't, he's him for that, bro. I'm sorry, he's him. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. You could even break it up into 2 answers like me. Long-term, grand scheme of things, who do you think is the best point guard in the East? And then just this season so far, who do you think is the best point guard in the East? Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave it a like, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In the description, there's links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those to keep up to date with me. Catch y'all.